Hello home bakers, today I'm going to be showing you how you can create a beautiful cake like this. I would recommend that you watch the entire video because it's going to be packed full of so many tips that is going to help you make amazing cakes. So let's start off with learning how to stack our cake. So you notice at the bottom I have a cake card, and I added some buttercream to the top of the cake card before putting the first layer of cake on. This acts as a glue and helps the cake sit firmly on the cake card. Now we're going to start assembling the layers. So you want to spread a thin layer of buttercream on top of your first cake. I'm using an angled palette knife, and you can see that I'm using a turntable. Next, I'm going to add the next layer of cake. As you can see, I'm having decent sized cake layers, not too thick, not too thin, and they're flat topped. So you add your layer of buttercream, nice and generous. Depending on your taste, you can add a bit more, a bit less, but try not to add too much buttercream. The more buttercream that you add, that can affect the stability of your cake. So that's important if you are making a tall cake. You don't want to add too much frosting, and you want to construct your cake properly to start off with so that it stands and there is no risk of it falling apart. It's also important, if you're going to be making a tall cake, to use a cake recipe that is very sturdy. I have lots of cake recipes that I would recommend, so check out the description section if you are stuck with what cake to use. So you see I've added the fourth layer, and it's going to be a nice tall cake, and I'm spreading a thin layer of buttercream right at the top. Now I'm adding more buttercream, and as I smooth it, you'll see it's starting to drip down the side. So I'm going to then use that to do what we call a crumb coat. So a crumb coat is like your first layer of icing. It doesn't have to be super smooth. It's not going to cover the cake completely, but it's going to bind your cake together and create what can we say, the foundation of your cake. So I like to use a crumb coat, and I would recommend for you as a beginner, start off with a crumb coat. It will make life so much easier. So the crumb coat, you want to just smoothen a thin layer of buttercream all around the cake, making sure it's nice and covered. Remember, you're not aiming for perfection. You just want the cake to be covered with enough buttercream. And then you're going to use a buttercream smoother. It's important to have this. So this is a buttercream smoother. You want one that is taller than your cake. So if you're making tall cakes, then you need a tall buttercream smoother, and you're just going to be using that to gently scrape off any excess buttercream, and that will give you a nice canvas to work on. Now you can see that you're still seeing some of the cake. Don't worry, this is just your crumb coat, so this is absolutely normal. Once your crumb coat is ready, then you can pop it in the fridge for about 20 minutes to set, and then you can go on to the next stage of the cake decorating. So here you can see that the crumb coat has set, and it has created a canvas for you to continue to work on. So you're going to then start to add additional layers of buttercream. You can see I'm adding a much thicker layer of buttercream than I did when I was making the crumb coat. You want to make sure that the whole cake is covered, and once that is done, then you're going to use the buttercream scraper to scrape off the excess buttercream. If there are any patches, you then will use the palette knife to add on additional buttercream, scrape, add more, scrape, and you continue this until you are happy with the final product. As a beginner, it can be very difficult to get it smooth first time round. So you may have to work by adding multiple layers. And if you're starting to get frustrated and your buttercream is being too soft, pop it in the fridge to set, bring it back out, add more buttercream as required, and continue to smooth. And eventually you'll have your cake looking nice and smooth, as you can see it here. And once you have got the final coat, you just want to just gently smoothing away any imperfection. So here my cake is ready for the next step of decorating. So I'm going to be creating some rosette. So in a piping bag, I've put some buttercream and I'm using a 1M tip to create the rosette. So you want to start off in the middle and just gently squeeze the piping bag and go round in a circle to create these rosettes. And we're going to also decorate the base of the cake using the same piping tip. So here we're going in a semicircular motion, just squeezing as we go in a half circle, and once you come to the end, just stop. I would recommend that you practice piping on a cake board or a plate before you then do it on your cake so that you are confident with the technique. And for the finishing touches, add your decorative elements, fondant, figurines, decorative bowls, cake toppers. I hope that you're confident to make a beautiful cake like this. Don't forget to like and subscribe.